This video is the background historical context of the book Pachinko by Min Jin Lee, a book about a Korean family in Japan. This is an amazing book full of emotions and historical information. Watch this video before or after reading this book to fully understand the historical context. Now, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Hi class! Today's Zoom lesson is on the ups and downs of the Japanese side of World War II. Let's start in 1929. When the Great Depression happened in the US, it also affected Japan, leaving many Japanese citizens unemployed. Using this chaotic atmosphere, the Japanese soldiers took over the government and said that in order for Japan to regain its power, it must conquer other countries. Like famously known, Japan attacked the Pearl Harbor and seemed to win victory after victory. However, during June 1942, US won Japan in the Battle of Midway and retrieved the Philippines and the Burma. In August 6, 1945, the US bombed the city of Hiroshima, and then 3 days later, the city of Nagasaki. Japan surrendered a few days after that, officially ending the war for both countries. Well, that's it for today, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. And see you during next class. Bye! The history of Koreans in Japan starts back during the 1920s, when Japan needed people to work. Koreans who were seeking job opportunities immigrated to Japan. But many of them were farmers, so they lacked in education, which resulted in them working in construction and mining. After around 10 years, the Koreans had formed a noticeable community, but because of discriminations, they lived in parts called the Korean ghettos or received lower income than their Japanese workers. During this time, the number of Koreans in Japan increased up to 41,900 immigrants. During 1939 to 1945, Japan lacked labor for the war, so they forcefully brought 80,000 Koreans to work for Japan. After the war, the Korean community constituted around 2 million people. But as soon as the war ended, many Koreans left back to Korea, leaving only around 60,000 Koreans in Japan. But many stayed because of their jobs or because they married Japanese citizens. Although there were still discriminations before the war, the Japanese government counted Koreans in Japan as Japanese nationals. But after the war, the Japanese changed the markings of Koreans who had been living in Japan as foreigners, stripping their Japanese nationality. During December 1945, they lost their voting rights, and in 1947, they were allocated an alien status. They had to register as aliens and renew their permit every 3 years, and were banned from all public and private sector employment. Also, many Japanese owners were unwilling to hire Koreans, which meant that Koreans needed to turn to illegal businesses. Which finally leads us to the Pachinko parlors. Pachinko is a mixture between the slot machine and pinball. Basically, a ball is like a point, and with the points you earn, you can turn that into different prizes, which can then be converted into cash. The Pachinko business hires more than 30,000 people and earns more than $225 billion every year. According to The World, it is Japan's largest leisure activity and earns more than 2 times the revenue all US legal gambling businesses make. Wait. Let's back up here. What are Yakuzas? Yakuzas are Japanese gangsters or a criminal organization. They do things like blackmailing, smuggling, and illegal money-making businesses. Yakuza's members tend to be people outcasted from society, like Korean Japanese people who were born in Japan, but their parents or grandparents were slave laborers. As shown in the book, They were in control of the cash exchange and prize exchange in the Pachinko business, although now they aren't because the Japanese police are in control of that. Wait, how does this connect to us as Christians? The Japanese government made shrines that held Japanese gods or people who accomplished important things for the country in Korea or in Japan. They forced all Koreans and Japanese citizens to bow down to these shrines every morning. Many churches in Korea resisted this law and they were all forcefully shut down and taken away. I hope this video took you a step further into your knowledge about Korea and Koreans. And the next time you meet your students, hopefully you can amaze them with your historical knowledge about Korea. Who knows, you might be even better than them. Thanks for watching. Bye!